I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. Waste is the major problem with most people in life. Waste. The difference between the developed world and the underdeveloping, not developing, we are underdeveloping. When your mates are going forward and you are going backwards, you are underdeveloping. Like the 8 years of Buhari was 8 years of willful, evil underdevelopment in this country. Evil underdevelopment. And now, Jesus hates waste. Waste. He hates waste. When I go to church, we spend so much time singing choruses, waiting for latecomers. We spend so much time doing frivolities. When they invite me as a guest preacher, I usually get there before them. And then they will waste my time. And then they will come and tell me, please, can you speak for 20 minutes? See, wasteful people. If I'm going to teach them on finances and on business, you pay. And when they pay, they want you to speak for long. They want to learn. Church people, you must know how to manage them. You see? Now, I went to a pastor's meeting. They spent so many hours discussing frivolities. That was the last time I went, and they came and gave me a suspension letter. I had suspended them in my mind before they came to suspend me. Dr. Apoki, suspend me. I had suspended them because I couldn't waste my time. These things I'm sharing with you now from this book, Value the Currency of Life. I wrote this book 18 years ago. If you remove 18 from 65, that means I was 47 years old. I started thinking like this. And then I'll go and sit down with people who waste my time. No. We waste resources. The offerings we get, the tithes we get, we waste them. Most of our churches, the church buildings are wasteful. Throughout the week, we only use them maybe 2 or 3 times. There are no productive ventures we can put in them that will constantly yield revenue. No. Now, let me look at Prudence and Jesus Christ. In the story of Mark chapter 6, 38 to 44, where Jesus had gone across to take a time off with his disciples, and people gathered, and they gathered for 3 days, and they were hungry. He then asked them, what do you have? The disciples wanted to send them away. Irresponsibility. Let me give you one secret. When you stay in church, after some time, if you have a need, they don't usually have money to give to you. Church people spend more money on dead people than spending money on living people. Church people spend more money on musicians, entertainers, that's these gospel artists, guest speakers like us, and frivolous travels, than on village pastors who are in the battlefield facing the real demons and the real challenges. If you know how poorly they are paid, you'll be surprised. We waste human beings, waste them in the villages without enhancing their lives to become more productive. That was not how the missionaries lived. We must redefine these things. Don't come here to tell me nonsense. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. So, the disciples say, send them away. Very unemotional, very unreasonable disciples. Send them away. Jesus said they will die on the way. They will fall down and die on the way. And then he asked them, what do you have? They said 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he told them, tell the people to sit down. You see, tell the people to sit down. Let me just tell you one thing. Prudence stems from an awareness of responsibility and the needs around us. I manage my resources carefully. because I can't afford to do conspicuous consumption in a poor environment like mine. But ironically, it is the same poor people that call me a miser, like as they call Cosmos Maduka, Koskaris. Thank God I'll be speaking with him in Lagos sometime this year. Now, I owe my community responsibility. That's why I build schools and I employ people. I employ several graduates. I pay mechanics. I buy spare parts. I pay electricians. I build. It is because I owe this country a duty. I owe my people a duty. I owe my grandchildren a duty. A righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. I owe the body of Christ a duty. I want to increase the number of people benefiting from my scholarship in Otokutu to 40 next year. And I'm contributing money to the one Salimo Wits Foundation is bringing to do the Hawkers Economic Leverage Program. If you give a hawker 20,000, she makes a profit of 2,000 naira every day. For 20 days, it's 40,000. It's more than the minimum wage. Hawkers Economic Leverage Program. We've been doing it and it is working well. Now, so when you have a sense of responsibility, you manage money well. Anytime they gave me honorarium in those days, God said, this is not your worth. It is for your children's children and for the ministry. So, Jesus needed to know what they had vis-a-vis the challenges they had. You must always marry what you have with the challenges you have, the need. But let grace, you remember the Apoki formula, let grace come upon what you have. 2 times 2 no longer becomes 4. And so, you must say, this is what I have now. How do I use it to get what I need? Not what will entertain me. A foolish person spends more to get less or nothing. A foolish person spends what he has for what he does not need. And that's Nigeria. We went to buy a yacht for our president in dollars. Where is he going to with it? Where is he going to with a yacht? What does he need it for? Ask the average rich man that has a swimming pool in his compound. How many times has he gone into that swimming pool? It's just to compete with another person, the hedonic treadmill. I wrote this chapter in a car 18 years back. I was waiting for my wife. She went to market books that she writes with her son. While I was waiting for her, as she went to supply the books, I was writing this chapter, and we are benefiting from it 18 years later. And she had been driving before we came this way, but she had not driven for a long time. While I was waiting for her, I had 12 kilometers of smooth, lonely road ahead of me. So I gave the car to her to drive, and I could see joy in her face as she was driving. I was using the time well on that lonely road to achieve a purpose. I used that same time to write this chapter you are listening to now. I maximize my time. But when we got to a busy place, I took the car from her to drive faster so that we can arrive at school on time. Jesus had a strategy and a plan. A life devoid of plans would be filled with pain. He first told the people to sit down, because if all of them were standing up, the crowd would be too much. He told them, sit down. They will be overwhelming. A prudent person tells his problems to sit down. This is necessary for proper evaluation. Then it reduces the problem to its actual size. Don't just be worrying. No, calm down. How much am I owing? Okay, I'm owing 1 million. Okay, if I pay 5,000, a week times 20 weeks is 100,000. If I pay 10,000 times 20 weeks is 200,000. If I pay 100,000 times 10 weeks, I have finished paying the money. So you tell the problem to sit down, then you break it down into units. Jesus needed order. Any country that is poor, any country that is backward, lacks order. Look at the last elections that were done in Ondo State. Primaries. Disorderly, confusion. The one in Edo State, the same thing for APC. Look at the attempted arrest of Yahaya Bello. It was insane. It was crazy. We are a mad society. Somebody came in a convoy with vehicles. Somebody invited thugs. Somebody EFCC was there. Are we schooled at all? My son and my two sons, my grandson and my daughter-in-law drove from Germany to Holland to one of their communities, and they saw the way the houses are neatly arranged and orderly. My daughter-in-law is a European. She said she wanted to visit the hospital. If their community is as orderly as this, how will their hospitals look like? Go to Kibera. Kibera in Kenya. It is disorderly. Makoko, Ajegule, disorderly. In fact, in Nigeria, we drive like insane people. I was in Meskel Square in Addis Ababa. 8 lanes. When I wanted to cross with my friend, I said, when the cars had stopped, I was running across. He said, no, cool down. They will wait for you. And I advised him, I said, my friend, when you come and visit me in Nigeria, when you see a zebra crossing, even if the vehicles have stopped, run across so that you can go home with your legs complete. It is in that zebra crossing you will see soldiers. They will pass with motorbikes who have been banned not to do motorbike transport in Lagos. It is there you will see one big man will break the traffic. Wow! Will break traffic light. It is there you will see, boy, something is wrong with our brains. In Australia, if you cross that line, they break the light. The Prime Minister cross, the former Prime Minister cross. Your number plates are taken. Progressive people are orderly. Jesus brought order. He told them to sit down. Then he said, share them into 50s and 100s. He was using the principle of division of your problem and the principle of gradualism. Sort the problems out. Put them here, one here, and create space. Several people died in Reinhard Bonnke's crusade in Benin and several places. Why? They did not apply this principle. In developed societies, when you are having a large crowd like that, you share them into small units, you put ushers in between, there's proper ventilation, there's ease of movement. It was after they made those mistakes that they started cracking the walls for ease of evacuation. After the crusade programs, you need order in your life. Is your life orderly? Do you order your time? Do you apportion your time? Do you label your resources? Or people just crash into you? No. The number of phone calls I receive, I apportion time to them. When you will call, when you will not call, when I will listen to you, when I will not listen to you. Orderly. A life without strategy will be a tragedy. A prudent man is orderly in whatever he does. Order. Jesus told the people to sit down in groups. Why? A prudent man budgets, allocates resources, as I've just said. Just imagine that as there were only 13 people, Jesus Christ and 12 disciples, and 5,000 men minus women and children who were hungry. Imagine 13 men trying to distribute food with all of them standing up. The surge will have crushed them. So he sorted the problems into small units and started attacking them in small units. Anytime I think holistically now, or I just take all my problems, I get panic attack. What I do is that I sort them out. I've done 2 videos. I'm going to go to the farm to carry cassava. I'm going to use the same time to supervise the building where I bought cement from the money I sold from cassava from Gary. Yesterday, I needed to collect the medicines my son sent from Europe. As I was going, I took money so that as I will just reach the post office, I will go from there to supervise the building so that I don't need to come back home and go there again. No, that's how to plan. That's how to think. That's how to manage resources. You don't follow tradition, routines, the way things have been. Some of them are responsible for why we are where we are. And so, a prudent man keeps records. Jesus collected the the waste products and the remnants, and he took records. A Nigerian church will not have done that. Government will not have done that. You keep records. That is how the Bible came to us. That was how Esther was able to, Mordecai was rewarded. They checked the records. A people who do not keep records will always forget easily, and people who mess them up will come again to mess them. We don't keep records. We don't put people in their proper positions based on their past performances. So, Jesus also knew how to delegate responsibilities. As he delegated the responsibilities, the bread and the fish was expanding in the hands of those he delegated resources to. That's what I do. If 2 of us can do the same thing very well, I don't join you to do it. I look for another thing to do. Most problems you have in your marriages is because you have this misconception of the 2 shall become 1. You wear the same dress, you enter the same car, you do the same thing. Your constant contact with each other will lead to irritation. You will constantly provoke each other. Let your wife do her stuff. You do your stuff. When you need each other, you come together. And then you do the things you are supposed to do. If it is going to Jerusalem, then you go to Jerusalem. If it is going to a ceremony, you can go. But I hardly attend many ceremonies with my wife. That is not to show how much I love her. She goes to her own. I go to my own. Me, I don't like ceremonies. I don't like ceremonies. She goes to her own. I go to my own. We don't wear the same clothes. We are not school children. She wears her own. I wear my own. That's the way it is. And then we come back together. So, I wanted to shout like a typical pastor, praise the Lord. So, most times, if you don't delegate and you don't partition and you don't compartmentalize problems and allocate resources based on compartmentalization and prioritization, you will be exhausted and you cannot do well. You see, a prudent man knows when it is time to stop. Africans die in offices because they don't know when to stop. So let me stop here. I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. Listen very well. Send a message to +234 70 52 13 6763 to register for the online conference coming up on the 1st of May by 7 p.m. If you are going to be at work, or you will not be free, or your time zone is different from ours, we will record it live. My partners in Europe will record it live, and we will send it to you. It is as if you attended, and you can play it over and over again and send a message to me. I have properties for sale. Properties for sale. Your money will be safe in my hand, and your properties will be safe in my care. Join the WhatsApp mentorship group. Listen, somebody said we should send him the number to join the WhatsApp mentorship group. And I sent him the flyer to register for the conference. He said he wants to join the mentorship group alone. Listen, what you can't pay for, you can't value. You will start by paying for the conference before you join the WhatsApp mentorship group. If you no want pay, now you sabi. God bless you.